See? Hello, welcome to episode 34 of that RowRow and Kades podcast. My name is Kelly, also known as RowRow and Kades, and you can find me on mostly YouTube and Instagram these days. Welcome back to everybody returning, and welcome to all the new people here. This is a knitting and designing podcast from the northeast of England. Hello. One day I will get that right. This is the 34th time I've said it. It's probably the 50th because I delete loads of them. But yes, today I'm drinking biscuit brew tea, which is the Yorkshire tea. I'm not sponsored by biscuit brew tea. It is just one of my favourites. And I'm drinking it in a mug that my best friend got me. Because she lives in Surrey, which is all the way, it's about a 4-hour drive away from me, in the south of England, and I live in the north of England. So, but she is my bestie. Right, this week has been a funny old week, and I know I say that all the time, but it has been, this fortnight has been a funny old fortnight because I hurt my arm. I basically, long story short, I have extra ribs here in my neck. They're about here. I was born with them. I haven't like grown them or anything. They're called cervical ribs. You can look them up on Google for more info. Basically, they cut off the nerves to my arms sometimes. I used to go to sleep like this. And when I woke up in the morning, my arms would both be completely dead and it would be really painful getting the blood to rush down. So I went to the doctors about it and they told me about my cervical ribs. The only thing they can do is just give you physio exercises or remove them. They haven't offered to remove mine, and I'm not sure how I feel about somebody tinkering around here with my bones. So I'm a bit like, maybe. But the last few months really, it's been, I assume it's these. They've been causing like a tingling sensation in my left arm and it's gone up into my face. Don't panic. It's nothing to do with the old ticker. That's fine. It's just, there's something going on in my neck. And the doctor, as well as me, thinks it's these stupid extra ribs that I have that's cutting off the circulation a little bit when I'm knitting because of obviously the posture I'm sitting in. I've realised over the last fortnight that I tend to lean to one side and I'll end up, I'm sitting on the settee, but my elbow is on the settee next to me while I'm knitting. So my posture's obviously going all skew whiff while I'm sitting knitting. And so that's been on for a few months, but then over the last 2 weeks, the tingling turned into really bad pain in my shoulder, and I was getting really bad pains in my forearm while I was knitting, so I had to not knit. So I didn't knit for an entire week, which was pretty hard. Pretty hard. And then I picked it back up again and done a few bits this week, so not a lot to show you because of that. The doctor is sending me for an MRI on my neck, just to double check everything, and probably sending me to physio for exercises for when I'm sitting and to make sure my posture is right. So that's what I'm going to be getting sorted for that. It's actually eased off. And without giving too much information, I am a 46-year-old woman, and I think a lot of it was down to hormonal, the time of the month. because it's eased off, and I have read that these things happen when you get to a certain age. Anyway, so it's okay at the minute, and I have been knitting. I knitted a lot yesterday, and I didn't get any pain, so yay. But let's see what happens next month. So I do have a finished object that I did try really hard to finish because I had to have it finished for Hobbii, and that is my sunset sky shawl, which is a name that just will not stick in my head. No. So this was for the No Shades of Grey campaign, couldn't think of the word, for Hobbii, in which I used 2 shades of grey, much to the hilarity of some people. However, I haven't measured my gauge, and I should probably do it. If I can find a tape measure, the ever elusive tape measure. Do you know what? I'm going to measure the gauge and tell you how wrong I was, because this is tiny compared to Helen Stewart's. I'm going to put up on one of the sides, I'll do this and I'll stick it there, Helen Stewart's picture of her shawl finished, and then I'm going to show you mine. So here it is. Do you see, like, the depth is completely different? So my gauge must be really out, but I haven't blocked it. I was going to block it before filming this podcast, and I didn't. Because I'm a bit rubbish, basically. So this is it. I'm still not a huge fan of that red. I wish I hadn't put the red in. But then I think it would have been a bit boring without it. But I wish it was like a blue or something. I don't know really. This is a funny old collection of colours. But I don't mind it. I knitted this, I finished it basically when the arm started to be a big pain in the bum. I was on this row, on this last row eyelet. I think I'd done the right side of it and I needed to do, oh maybe I was on this one, I can't remember, but I knew I only had this bit to do. This garter is 1 row short, just basically because I was in pain and I was like, look, it's 1 row. It's not going to make any difference to the grand scheme. And the picot edging, it took me days. It took me a good few hours to do that picot edging. Picot cast off. But it's really simple. It's just short rows to get those skinny edges of the stripes and eyelets, and yeah, I mean, I was quite disappointed, I'm not gonna lie. I like Helen Stewart a lot, I love her patterns, but I was disappointed, especially with how the sizing turned out. Now I'm gonna go and get my tape measure and measure my gauge. Okay, I'm back. So my gauge, that's the wrong side. Not that it matters. So I would assume it's my raw gauge that is out. And I'm getting 14 stitches per inch, right, so bear with me. So I'm getting 56 rows per 4 inches, and Helen Stewart says that you should have 20 rows per 4 inches. I never get that on garter stitch. My garter stitch is always like bunched right up tight, and you can see in her pictures that hers is quite loose. So maybe me and Helen just do not knit the same at all. it's knitted in 4mm, and I don't know whether I did use a 4mm. No, I did use a 4mm. So yeah, very different in size. Mine is 11 inches deep and hers is 17. So I'm 6 inches short. But, you know, it's okay. I mean, look, it's still wearable. It's still wearable. It's just not what I expected it to be. I'm just going to tilt you down a little bit. You're a bit up in the air. Better. Yeah, so there we go. That is my sunset. I do like the twisty twiddly twirls. Twisty twiddly twirls. That's what they're called. That's the official name for those. Yeah, I do like the shawl. I do like Helen Stewart's patterns. It is nothing to do with her pattern as to why mine is a little short ass, but it's all to do with my gauge. But I would never have got 20 rows in a garter stitch without going up to like 10mm needles or something. So it was never going to be that for me. And the gauge is after blocking as well, and this, like I said, hasn't been blocked. So I'm going to give it a block because it does need it. I'm going to give it a block and stretch it out and see what happens then. But yeah, it could be another gift for the mother-in-law. I don't know. But there we go. So that is the Sunset Skies shawl. And that was my only finished object because, like I said, I've barely been knitting. I've been playing World of Warcraft instead. They have dragons now. Well, they always have dragons, but now you can be a dragon, and that's my day made. If you can be a dragon. My Chinese what's it called? My Chinese year. You know when everyone's a something in the China. You know, like there's rats and rabbits and dragons. I'm a dragon. Very proud. Very proud. Anyway, so the other thing I've been working on is my Mermaid Avenue socks. So these were from my Make 9 last year. I did finish one. They're this gorgeous little scaly things. You have seen them a few times. They are delicious. They are they're knitted in Mountain Colours yarn and Cornflower colourway. I'm not sure what this base is. I haven't got the label anymore. And I've heard that Mountain Colours has been sold. The ladies are retiring. So good on them. Good on them. So I've done this. The last time you've seen this, I'd done one repeat. So I have done a fair bit on it. I've got the heel done, and I'm definitely coming to the end of my yarn. I've never used this yarn for anything else, so it's obviously not a big ball, but again, don't have the label. So, but if that's all I've got left after knitting 2 socks, and they're not very big, they're not very long socks, but they are very dense. It almost feels like DK. So whether, I don't know, it's not DK, but it almost feels like it is. So yeah, I am almost at the end of this, believe it or not, but I am. It just looks like a fish. See? Yeah. I think I've got 4 pattern repeats to go, and then the 2. So yeah, I don't know why there's so many ends sticking out with it. Oh, there was a knot in the yarn. So I cut it out and did my own knot because I don't trust knots in yarn. But that's it. That's all. That's like, I was working on them for a bit because I was like, do you know what? I really want to get on with my new Make 9. I have a video last week I put out for my new Make 9 and I really want to get cast on and get started on those. So I was like, you have to finish these first. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of law, isn't it? I have to finish these first. So I did. I started working on them. So I think they'll be finished the next time you see me. I'm leaving them on my settee, so they're there. They're in my Woolly Mama bag that I got from Yorkshire Yarn Fest, which is just one of these where you tie it in a knot. And I love it. It's great for socks. So it's on my settee, like that. So that it's there, so that when I'm just sat, I'm like, oh, I should do a row on my socks. The other thing I've been working on is my Stormseeker tee. I've been calling it a Stormseeker tee. I'm starting to think it might have long sleeves. This is my design. I don't think I've got enough yarn for long sleeves though. I don't know, maybe 3/4 sleeves. But this is where I'm at. So the last time you seen it was just a yoke. Hang on, give myself a bit of slack. It was just a yoke, so I have split for the sleeves. Oh, I'm quite far down actually, aren't I? So yeah, I'm wondering either I'm wondering tee but cropped or long sleeves, long body. I can't decide. I can't decide what to do. What would you like to see? I don't know if I've got enough yarn to do full long sleeves. It might be 3/4 length for my version. I'm not sure. But this is the Stormseeker tee. So it's got like a lightning going down your chest. We have short rows in the back, as I showed you this earlier last week. Yeah, and it's coming along nicely. I'm just in the stock and stitch section now of the body. I really want to get it done so I can get it into tech editing and testing and the likes. Yeah, there's not much I can tell you really. It's knitted in Yarnspirations. Is it yarn? No, it's not Yarnspiration. I always call it that. The Yarn Collective. I can't remember the name of the colour. I'll put it on the screen. Which is just a silvery grey. Focus camera. It's just a silvery grey, but as you knit it, there is some variation. I don't know whether the camera will pick it up. You might be able to see it. Yeah, it's not the most exciting colour, but it's nice. I do like it. And I'm really happy with how this is going so far. A few of you were saying that you like, oh, that bleached out, didn't it? A few of you were saying that you liked it too, so yeah, it's going well. So that is the new design on the needles, and that's all I've been working on. Well, sort of. Obviously I had to have a week off from knitting. So because I couldn't knit, and I was playing World of Warcraft, like I said, but I wanted to do something crafty. I have a load of beads that are just sitting around doing nothing from when I was making stitch markers and things. Well, I still make stitch markers and things. But I decided to make some little new stitch markers doing bead weaving. I used to bead weave years ago and I haven't done anything with it for such a long time, and I was like, do you know what, you've got all these beads kicking about. Like, you could do something with them. So the main colour beads that I had was white, black and orange. So I've decided to make some little dudes for the shop, for my Etsy shop. So we have a little panda. I can't tell if that's focused or not. And we have a little fox. So these are some new stitch markers that are going to be going into my Etsy shop. I don't know if I can hold them into your hand. Oh, there we go. Yes. They're going to go into my Etsy shop over the next few weeks. Every time I see Panda, I think, Panda. Don't know why. Don't know why. They might be getting names like Frederick and Pancho or something. I don't know. But those are new, and I've been sat doing lots of them in my week off because I couldn't knit. But that was it. That's all I've been doing. I've got no acquisitions because I've been on a bit of a yarn diet. We have booked a holiday for July, and it has made me extremely poor. So I couldn't afford. I saw the Corner of Craft had done her gorgeous. Was it the DM handbooks or something like that? I'm not up on Dungeons and Dragons, but I love her yarn anyway. She'd got some new yarns coming out, and one of them I really wanted, but no, didn't. And there was somebody else. I say the Corner of Craft. She's not called that on her yarn, is she? No, don't know. Can't remember. But you know who I mean. Hannah. Yes, and yeah, there was lots of yarn. There's lots of yarn I've been wanting, but not able to buy. I'm going to try and be very, very good. But yeah, there's nothing. I've got no acquisitions, and there's nothing really going on. That's it. I haven't really done anything. Kids were off school last week as well, so I kind of disappeared from social media while I went to the pictures, the cinema, the movies, whatever you want to call it, to see Puss in Boots 2, which was really good. But because I wasn't knitting and I was just sitting, I kept almost nodding off. And it was a really good film. There's no reflection on the film at all. I just think if I'm not doing something while I'm watching, I'll just go asleep. So, yeah, I was really fighting. You know, when you're really, really fighting to stay awake. Oh, I was doing that in the cinema, so that was annoying. But yes, Puss in Boots 2 was really good. If you haven't seen it and you like that sort of thing, then I recommend. Although in the film, I don't think this is giving anything away. I'm sure this bit will be in the trailer. But in the film, there is a wolf who's like a bounty hunter trying to get Puss in Boots. And whenever he's around, he's whistling, and Puss hears the whistle. And he knows the wolf is there, he's going to try and kill him. And yesterday, Rowan, my 6-year-old, almost 7-year-old, said to me, so when we die, do we hear that whistle? And I was like, what? It's like a week since I've seen the film. I had no idea what he was talking about, and it was completely out of the blue. And I said, what? And he said, do we hear the whistle when we die? And I went, what whistle? And he said, Flake the wolf from Puss in Boots. And I was like, oh. Right, this bit's going to be all choppy because I keep giving bits of the film away and I don't mean to. So he asked if you could hear the whistle before you die. And I said, nobody knows what you hear or see or do before you die, because when it happens, then we're dead and you can't come back and tell anybody. So then he was like, oh, yeah. He's 6, he's very blasé about death, but I don't like talking about death. I really don't like talking about death. And he is really like, he talks about it like he's going to make a ham, like he's making a ham sandwich. It's just like, it's nothing. It's just like, I don't know. It was weird, and I ended up like trying to cut the conversation short because I didn't like it. Do you hear a whistle before you die? I don't know. I don't want to know just yet. Thank you. So yeah, and what else did we do? We went swimming. Me and Rowan. Caden didn't want to come with us. The swimming pool was freezing cold. When we got to the reception, the guy said, "Oh, the small pool is slightly cooler than normal." That's what he said. It's slightly cooler than normal. So I said, okay, that's okay. It was freezing, like to the point where getting under the water was awful. And then the bottom of my hair was wet, but it was like pulling because the top was dry. So I needed to get the top of my hair wet as well, so it wasn't pulling so much. And dipping my head back into the pool was absolute torture. It was freezing. All the mums in there was complaining about how cold it was, and Rowan was complaining. And then halfway through, Rowan wanted to go to the toilet, so we had to get out of the pool and go across past the big pool and back into the changing rooms to the toilets. And I felt like I was in Antarctica in a bathing suit. I was just like, we were walking across like, when we got into the changing rooms, I'm absolutely certain they had aircon on in there. It was so cold. It was unbelievable. To the point where when we come out of the toilet and we went back into the pool felt warm because we were that cold outside. So then when we had to actually leave, I was like, I don't want to leave now. Just, I'm too cold. It was awful. So yes, the next time I go to the reception and he tells me it's slightly cooler than normal, I'm going to be like, well, you can stick it then, can't you? I'm not going in. I will come back another day. Don't know why it was slightly cooler than normal. But that was it. And then we come out of there and Rowan fell flat on his face, and now he's got all cuts down the side of his face. I thought he would have a black eye, but he doesn't. But yes, the joys. So that's all I've been up to. A week off from school, which meant a week off from knitting because of my arm, playing dragons on World of Warcraft, and making little pandas and boxes, doing that. So yes, if you are interested in a panda or a fox, they will be in my Etsy shop next week, I think. And that is all I have to tell you today. So oh, that's my Mermaid Avenue pad. Yeah, hopefully next time I see you, I will have more to share and to show you and all that malarkey. But until then, have a lovely couple of weeks, and I will see you soon. Right, I'm off. Bye.